every Monday and Friday in September, we are going through an installment in the Alien franchise. On Monday, we talked about Alien 3, and today we are finishing off the Sigourney Weaver era of Alien films. Hi, my name's Zach, and today we're talking about Alien Resurrection. Before we get started, I started this YouTube channel because I cannot watch a movie without needing to talk about it afterwards. And if that sounds like you, you're in the right place. Consider hitting that subscribe button. Also, I want this to be a conversation between me and you, so comment down below your thoughts and opinions on Alien Resurrection. When did you first watch the film? Did you see it in theaters originally? Did you watch it at home on Blu-ray? Comment down below, let me know. I'd love to hear your story. And with all that said, let's kick it off with what works about Alien Resurrection. And what I will say about Alien Resurrection that I do think is a benefit to it is it's not like the previous Alien films. This has a very different vision. This has a very different take. This is many years after even Alien 3 came out, so it does have a bit of a modern day sci-fi type feel to the movie where you've got these scientists, they're experimenting on xenomorphs. They've brought back Ripley as a clone. They've gone in very different directions than we've seen the franchise go before, and I feel like the benefit of all these Alien movies is that while they have a formula to them, and in some cases they follow the patterns of the previous movie before it, Alien Resurrection feels like it deviates the most from that formula, from that direction, while also keeping things in it that I've enjoyed up until this point in the Alien franchise. You've got great action for the most part in this film. There's one sequence that took them a long time to shoot and a lot of thought went into, where the characters are underwater in a flooded part of the ship and the alien is coming after them. It's got some good tension. It's got some good suspense. You've got a pretty good cast here as well supporting Sigourney Weaver, where you've got Winona Ryder joining the crew. You've got Ron Perlman in here joining the crew. And they've got a well-established camaraderie between all of them. And when they're shooting guns and shooting action, they can all hold the action sequences very well. And it's always great to see Sigourney Weaver in these films. Bringing Ripley back after killing her off in Alien 3 as a clone is a very audacious decision, to say the least. Did it work? We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But not just bringing back the character that we saw at the end of Alien 3. Like, the sacrifice does mean something. Ripley did in fact die. This is a way for them to kind of have their cake and eat it too, where you get Sigourney Weaver back on the screen, but it's not the same Ripley as we saw before. So, yeah, points to them for that. I don't like this movie. So let's talk about what doesn't work about Alien Resurrection. And for me, while I do praise this film, or at least admire and appreciate this film for going in a different direction than the previous Alien films, it's not a direction that I like. Let's go back and talk about Sigourney Weaver here as Ripley. Ripley is a character that I thought had a really great growth and character development throughout the course of the first three Alien films, and Sigourney Weaver always gave a great performance. Here, I think Sigourney Weaver is really, really bad. I think she's terrible in this film. And this film was written by Joss Whedon, who's very known for quippy kind of comedic dialogue, which is in this film. There's a lot of weird, quirky moments in this film, where whether you've got Ripley playing basketball and teasing Ron Perlman with the basketball when they come in to confront her and ask what she is. And there's some sequences where Winona Ryder is trying to drink from a glass and she's all of a sudden out of nowhere wearing boxing gloves for some reason. These very quirky and weird Joss Whedon impulses that are in this film, and it just doesn't mesh well with Alien and the Alien tone for me personally. But when it comes to Sigourney Weaver, she is not playing Ripley. She's playing a clone of Ripley that they took from the end of Alien 3, or they found her blood somewhere, and she's got tendencies of Ripley that are mixed in with DNA of a xenomorph. So she's kind of like this weird hybrid human xenomorph clone thing. where Sigourney Weaver decides to play this very sexually.
So, who do I have to get off this boat?
Like, she's constantly caressing people, and she's got this weird kind of sexual energy going with everybody, which is not something that was necessarily in the script that she had to follow. She actually contributed a lot of those ideas and a lot of that performance herself.
When I wrote it, I wanted to make the character kind of strange and edgy, and I was afraid that Sigourney would say, can't we make her pretty and, and likable, and can she have a puppy? And she just kept saying, push it further. What if I'm even stranger? What if I have more alien and less human in me? And she created an extraordinary character.
This is how she wanted to go with it. This is how she wanted to play it. And to me, it's a very odd performance, and I don't think it works very well. And I don't think a lot of performances in here work very well. I don't think Winona Ryder is particularly very good in this film either. It's later revealed that she's one of the androids like we've seen in this series before. But even with that knowledge in your head as you're watching this movie, she just comes across kind of whiny, kind of immature. She doesn't seem to fit the characteristics that the character is supposed to have. But when all of these characters get together in the scene where they're confronting Ripley while she's playing basketball, that is such an odd scene for any movie, but especially an alien movie, where before they even know that Ripley is a clone and not the original Ripley, they smash her in the face with a dumbbell. Which I thought was hilarious. I laughed my butt off when that happened in that scene. But there's also a couple other sequences of action in here that don't feel like they fit with the Alien franchise. Like the one character who can shoot bullets off of multiple objects to hit a guy in the head. That's so cartoony. And that's the thing about Alien Resurrection, is it kind of feels like it's trying to do something so different and so out there for the franchise that we haven't seen before, that it just comes up with these ideas that on paper, maybe they sound interesting.
Really, I read the first draft by Joss Whedon. I thought it was amazing.
But in execution, they come across as just dumb. That brings us to the newborn creature in this film. That guy right there. I'm not a huge fan of this thing here, where they make this thing basically the child of this clone Ripley, so it's kind of like a humanized xenomorph thing, and they give it this emotion, they give it this the sense of sympathy to it, and I just feel like the whole thing doesn't work, and it just is so weird to have like this weird sexual but yet paternal relationship between this thing and Ripley at the end of this film. I don't know how they could have made it any worse.
The genitals of the newborn was a whole issue. Jean-Pierre was very much adamant that it should have genitals, and that the genitals should look like a cross between male and female. At one point he came back to us and said that he had to actually do digital genital removal, because he said even for a Frenchman, it was too much.
Well, I stand corrected. For me, Alien Resurrection is kind of a so bad it's good movie where I can sit down, I can watch it, I can laugh at it. I think the ideas in it are ridiculous. I think the performances are ridiculous. The situations that the characters find themselves in are so just odd and quirky and out there that it's hard not to laugh at the idea that someone actually thought that the fact that Sigourney Weaver could shoot a basket backwards was enough to include a sequence like this in an Alien film.
Swish. The ball didn't touch the basket. Perfect shot.
It feels so detached from what the franchise was and is supposed to be. I just think it's such a big swing and a miss that for me is just a huge miss across the board. And I'm not going to recommend Alien Resurrection. I personally think it's one of the worst Alien films we've had up until this point. Our Alien series continues on Monday, where we are going to be talking about Alien versus Predator. As always, thank you so much for watching, and don't just watch movies, talk movies. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.